Welcome to Present Poetry, a podcast where we sit back, relax, and enjoy some poets of the past and present. I'm your host, Erin Crittenden, and before we get started on this week's episode, I want to remind you that all of the material used in this podcast is either public domain or used with permission from the author or the author's estate. It's a fun time for all ages, so sit back, relax, and get ready to hear this week's featured poet. This week's featured poet is Wendy Wisner. Wendy Wisner is the author of 2 books of poems called Epicenter and Morph and Bloom, and her 3rd book, The New Life, will be published by Cornerstone Press at the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point in fall of 2024. Wendy's essays and poems have also appeared in Prairie Schooner, Spoon River Review, The Washington Post, Lilith Magazine, and elsewhere. To learn more about this poet and her works, you can visit her website, which will be linked in the show notes. We are reading some of her poetry that she submitted through the form at presentpoetry.com. This poem is called Solstice. My mother was born on the first day of summer, 1948. Her mother labored alone. Ivy flared against the window, shot through with lemon light. That night, the moon was full, as it is tonight. In the waiting room, her father sat in his gray clothes, holding his son, Raphael, the angel. When the moon dropped, the nurse let them in. My mother's eyes were root black, still adjusting to the light. Raphael named her Black-Eyed Susan. This was the beginning. Later, the steady unraveling of a family, the way a girl's hair unbraids in her sleep. End of summer, her pillow damp. Tonight, I'm not interested in that story. My hair is down. Summer's just begun. I want only this, to see my mother born. This poem is called Driving Home. The car empty of children, rain pounding, thunder, hail. I thought I could easily die. It was beautiful, something from a dream. Lush green trees heavy with rain, branches tapping my car as I passed beneath. I looked up, and the sky was a drowsy gray handkerchief. The rain slowed as I got closer to home. I parked the car. The baby cried from inside the house, and I walked up the stairs, my jeans wet at the hems. This poem is called Every Night He Asks Me to Tell Him the Story of Spring. I start with the buds, magnolias, forsythia, dogwood. I work down to the roots, how they gather water from melted snow, and soon I tell him there will be dandelions. I'll watch you run through the yard, pulling them into your hands. Then you'll come inside, place them in a glass of water. And if there isn't a glass small enough to hold them, he asks. We'll find one, I say, hoping he falls asleep soon. And if we can't find one, he insists, stroking my lip with his finger. We'll keep looking, I say. And now his limbs jerk quietly in my arms, and he has unfurled himself from my body, like all the men I've loved. This poem is called Nehama. My grandmother knelt at the foot of the bed and pulled out a glinting cellophane box. Inside, a tiny pink dress with a lace collar, pressed, wholly intact, like a museum artifact. This is the dress of the girl who died, she said. Then, pieces of a story. A ship from Kiev, a sickness, a dead sister, a new baby born out of mourning. They named me Nehama because I was her replacement. my parents' consolation, their solace. Then she knelt down again and slid the box back under the bed into its darkness. This poem is called Nightscape. I lie naked on the carpet, the children asleep in the bedroom. My husband wants to make love to me. He's beautiful, golden hair, sloped back. I'm tired. 35 years of wanting, having, losing. The sunflower does its job, pressing against the window pane. Night is long and arduous. Tonight, I'll have nightmares about leaving my children home alone. The roads will turn to water as I run to them. In the dream, the baby doesn't cry for milk. He sleeps on top of the 6-year-old, who reassures me on the phone, all is well. How I would like to believe. I am a well of patience. I well with tears. I am rescued from the well. My well runneth. Enter me. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Present Poetry Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, feel free to like us, leave a review, or share us on social media. If you are a poet or you know someone who is, we would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us or submit your work through our website, which is www.present-poetry.com. Again, that is www.present-poetry.com. We can't wait to hear from you.